Standup Comedy, your host and MC, presents Comedy Appetizers, a podcast where you will find short comedy sets, stories, and funny bits from the famous and not so famous. Here is your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special bonus episode of Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. And for today's funny, we got a really great guest. You may have heard him on the podcast. You've certainly seen him on the Reno 911 show. You've heard his voice on hundreds of cartoons, including Casa Grande. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my buddy, Carlos Alazraqui.
Hey, Scott. Thank you, everybody.
Carlos,
thank you, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on this special bonus episode. I heard you got something you've been working on.
Yeah, I've been working on this. I just want to say that I'm really happy to be a father. I really appreciate my family life and my children. And sometimes it's even like this. It's hard to go to clubs. It's even hard to take this time out to be away from my kids because it's nighttime. They're snuggling. And my daughter looks at me and says, "Daddy, I love you." And I look at her and I say, "I love you too, but not as much as I love doing comedy on a podcast. So Mom's going to put you to sleep." I love stranger love. I love the attention and adulation of strangers. And you can't give me that, honey. Good night. So I am trying to get psychologically healthy, though. 24 years of therapy and starting to work. But I do want to let people know that regular therapy that you see on television is irregular therapy. It doesn't work like that. I do want to let you know that I have to work on it. And let's say, I love Dr. Phil, kind gentleman, occasionally does say some right things, but very dangerous man, Dr. Phil, because he will tell you that I don't care how messed up you are in your life. I don't care how screwed up your childhood was. You give me 14 minutes and 2 commercial breaks, and I'm going to turn your life around, and you're going to get applause, and you're going to be okay for the rest of your life. Very dangerous. This is an actual episode that I watched, Scott, and I left off the couch. I remember in my old house. He was on a show. There was a woman on the show addicted to Tim McGraw, the country singer. And that woman was who you thought she was. "Oh, I love him, Dr. Phil. Tim McGraw speaks to me in a certain way, and I follow all his music." And it was like, "Supper's on, victuals is ready." And he looked at her and go, "Ma'am, let me just stop you right there, okay? Because what's going on is you're obsessed with a stranger. You're participating in something that is not reality. You're overwhelmed by his fame, and you're ignoring what you have in your own real life, like your children, like your home, like your husband." And this is what he said to her. And I kid you, he goes, "Ma'am, what you need to do is stop." Okay, where did you get that academic accreditation? I'm glad you asked. I went to the University of What You Need to Do, and I majored in stop doing it. I have a master's degree in cut it out and a PhD in knock it off or I'll suck you in the stomach. I wouldn't take that advice from a crappy contractor working on my house. Come on down to your basement. I'm going to show you how messed up your foundation is. Come on over here. Okay, look at this. Let's look at your wood. You got dry rot. You got pock marks where the termites are eating it all up. You got asbestos for insulation. You got rusty pipes. You got a dead possum. You got sand for soil. So if we have 1 inch of rain or a 5-mile-an-hour windstorm, your whole foundation will crumble and wash out to the Sacramento River. What you need to do is paint over that and stop looking at it.
Great advice.
There you go. Great advice. That's my classic Dr. Phil bit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the classic Phil bit by Carlos Alazraqui. Wow, this has been another exciting episode of An Audience of One. Carlos, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome, Scott.
All right, everybody, stay tuned this Sunday. Another new great show. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Comedy Appetizers. Be sure to share with family and friends, and we will see you this Sunday for our regular podcast, your host and MC, and again next Friday for another episode of Comedy Appetizers. Bye!